Welcome to our session, Explaining UL Labels, brought to you by LabelWorks. As your marketing and sales resource, LabelWorks is committed to providing ideas and research to help you increase your profitability. For today's session, we will be covering UL labels, what they are, how to order them, and what customers purchase these labels. Let's get started. First, we want to cover what Underwriters Laboratories, or UL, stands for. Underwriters Laboratories is an independent product safety certification organization that has been testing products and writing standards for safety for more than a century. UL evaluates more than 90,000 types of products, components, materials, and systems annually, with 20 billion UL marks appearing on 66,000 manufacturers' products each year. This definition is courtesy of the UL website. To break it down further, UL sets safety standards for a variety of products used in our homes and workplaces every day, such as household appliances, fire doors, and lighting. Companies pay UL to evaluate their products against UL's well-known safety standards. Products that pass UL safety tests can put the UL mark on their products as a sign to the consumer, the person who actually uses the product, that the product has been tested for safety by UL. In the LabelWorks office alone, we found several products that were tested by UL, including computers, fax machines, extension cords, heating and air conditioning equipment, and a power drill. To UL, the mark is an important symbol as it indicates that the product was tested by them. UL governs the use of the UL mark on labels. To ensure that the UL mark is printed correctly, UL created the Authorized Label Supplier Program. Manufacturers who want to have the UL mark printed on their labels are only allowed to purchase the labels from these authorized sources. In order to become an authorized label supplier, the label producer enters into an agreement with UL that allows them to print the mark. To make sure that the mark is used correctly, UL visits the label supplier 4 times per year to review all of the UL marks printed. UL also has various levels of certification within the label supplier program. LabelWorks has the PGAA certification, which means we are allowed to print the UL mark on any stock that the product manufacturer would like. UL also has other levels of certification: PGDQ2, PGJI2, PGGU2, and PGIS2. The first 3 certifications are part of UL's Marking and Labeling Systems program, which means that the label stock, inks, and/or laminations and varnishes are tested for permanency. These tests can incorporate exposure to high humidity or water, high temperatures, sunlight resistance, or exposure to chemical agents. After being exposed, the labels are checked to see if they withstood the conditions. Was there any curling, wrinkling, shrinkage, or loss of adhesion? The labels are also checked for legibility, resistance to defacement, and adhesion. The different levels of certification each have different standards. They can cover the entire label construction and unprinted stocks that will have information added by the product manufacturer, or blank stocks. At this time, LabelWorks only has PGAA status, so if your customer is indicating that they need the entire label construction approved, or certificates of compliance to show that the label was printed on a specific stock with certain inks and a particular lamination, LabelWorks will be unable to fulfill these orders. If the customer is looking only for the stock to be certified, our 4mm white vinyl RTS stock has been approved by UL. On this page, we are showing you a variety of UL marks. The basic UL mark is a circle with the letters UL in the center, along with the trademark R. If the product bearing the UL mark has been tested to Canadian safety standards, a C will be placed to the left of the UL mark. If tested to the US standards, the letters US will appear to the right of the mark. As shown in the upper right example, the mark has both the C and the US, meaning this product was tested to both Canadian and US safety standards. Your customer may also have a mark with the letters EU at the bottom. This is for products tested to the European safety standards. The UL mark may also have text saying verified, classified, or listed. Depending on the product and what the product was tested for will determine if one or any of these words are necessary. The backwards RU is the UL recognized component symbol. This is used when a piece of equipment is evaluated by UL that will be used in a larger piece of equipment. An example of this could be a hose or a fitting that will be placed into a generator. The generator may not be approved by UL, but the individual piece is and is marked as such. The symbol in the lower right corner of the page is for facilities who have passed UL's evaluation to management system standards. Companies can use this symbol in their marketing or promotions. There are a variety of UL marks. We're showing just a few of them to give you an idea. All of the UL marks are available for viewing on the UL website under the About Us, Marks and Labels, Appearance and Significance page. Product manufacturers are assigned one of two types of UL label, a Type R or a Type L label. The customer's UL project engineer or customer service professional can inform them of what type of label they will need. These labels can appear similar. One of the biggest differences is that the Type L labels have consecutive numbering or an issue number on them. In order to get this number, they will need to contact the UL Label Center. We'll cover this in the following pages. Depending on what type of label the customer needs, the order process will vary slightly. With UL labels, we prefer that these be submitted through the manual process rather than our website because paperwork from UL is required for both types of labels. When working with a customer who needs a UL label, besides asking the normal questions such as stock, quantity, and time frame that they need them by, there are a few other questions to ask to make sure you have all the information before submitting the order. Does the label have consecutive numbering on it? If yes, the customer will be ordering a Type L label, which has one extra step in the ordering process. We'll discuss this in just a few moments. Do they have a UL stamped approval sheet? These are for Type R labels. The stamped approval consists of a copy of the label layout with one of these 4 stamps on it. The stamp is signed off by a member of the UL Label Center. This paperwork is required to be in LabelWorks' possession prior to printing the labels. Does any part of the label need to be approved? This question is aimed to find out if the customer needs the entire label construction approved, the stock, the inks, and the lamination or varnish. If the customer indicates yes, LabelWorks will be unable to produce this type of label, as we do not have the right UL certification for this. Type R labels are very straightforward to order. The product manufacturer, your customer, will submit their label design to the UL Label Center. The UL Label Center will review the label design. If approved, they will stamp the label design with one of the 4 stamps shown earlier and sign off on it. If changes need to be made, the UL Label Center will respond and indicate what those are. The changes will need to be made and then the label design sent in again for approval. Once the stamped approval is received, a copy of it should be sent along with the purchase order to LabelWorks. LabelWorks will review the order. If everything is in order, the labels will be produced and then shipped directly to the product manufacturer per UL guidelines. Please note that no samples of the order will be sent with the invoice, as LabelWorks normally does. UL only allows for the exact amount of labels to be produced. Type L labels are also easy to order, but they require one additional step compared to Type R labels. The product manufacturer and you, the channel partner, will create a purchase order for the labels. On the purchase order, indicate that LabelWorks will be printing the labels. Please include LabelWorks' address. At this point, you will submit the purchase order and the label layout to LabelWorks. The product manufacturer will submit the purchase order and label layout to the UL Label Center. The UL Label Center will review the information. Once the label is approved, they will issue the consecutive numbering that will go on this quantity of labels. The Label Center will email LabelWorks to let us know which numbers to print. The product manufacturer will be copied in on this email so they know which numbers they are receiving. LabelWorks will review the order. If everything is correct, the labels will be produced and then shipped directly to the product manufacturer per UL guidelines. Please note that no samples of the order will be sent with the invoice as LabelWorks normally does. UL only allows for the exact amount of labels to be produced. Once the initial order is on file with LabelWorks, reordering a specific UL label is easy. For Type R labels, reorders can be placed directly with LabelWorks. As we already have the artwork and the UL paperwork on file, we can produce these without requiring any additional information. If the UL mark, product type or serial number of the product is changing, a new stamped approval sheet will be needed. For Type L labels, because new consecutive numbering is needed each time, the UL Label Center must be contacted. The purchase order will still need to be sent to both LabelWorks and the UL Label Center to have the new numbering issued. Remember, LabelWorks now keeps artwork on file for up to 2 years. As the UL information on the first page indicated, there are more than 19,000 product types and 66,000 manufacturers that use UL to inspect their products. These customers are involved in a wide variety of businesses, such as appliances and HVAC, life, safety and security, building materials, lighting, and wire and cable. The UL information page, under the Sales and Customer Support tab on labelworks.com, has a full list of each of the specific applications for UL labels. Each of these 11 categories shown here are broken down into the different products that UL inspects. Now that we've went through the UL information, are you interested in working with customers who need these UL labels? First, you can utilize UL's website to help you with your search. Go to www.ul.com and click on the word Certifications in the upper right corner. On the following page, enter the city and state that you would like to target businesses in, then click Search at the bottom. UL will display every company that uses UL for product testing in your specified area. You can now create a list of potential customers from this information. Check your local Chamber of Commerce for listings of companies that fit into one of the 11 categories we just discussed. Research different companies through their websites. Many will indicate if a product they produce is UL listed, certified, or verified, as this information is something the purchaser of the product will want to know. If you're already working with a company in the manufacturing industry, ask if they submit their products for UL inspection. You will be able to find out if they're using UL labels. The goal of our presentation today was to provide you with easy to understand information on UL labels and their ordering process. Most importantly though, we want you to know that LabelWorks is here as your resource to help you through the UL label ordering process. If the product manufacturer is unsure of what they need or who to contact, please contact LabelWorks customer care team. They will be more than happy to work with you and provide you the information and resources to help you feel confident in submitting your order. LabelWorks can also work with the UL Label Center to get stamped approval forms for Type R labels, submit missing paperwork for Type L labels, or ask general questions about what type of label your customer should be using. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our LabelWorks customer care team at 1-800-522-3558 or customercare@labelworks.com. We look forward to working with you on your next UL order.